Hello there everyone and welcome back to another Umbara MOC update video. And in this video I work a lot more on the front section of the MOC, the battlefield area, as well as a lot of the elements that will lead into the capital itself. So a lot of exciting stuff in this episode, and without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I did for this episode was actually add in a couple more trees here. I've got one more tall one back there, two up front, and then down over here you can see I have started to plate out this so it's now level with the trench and it goes down into the road, so this whole section is now kind of level and looking pretty good. But there are the couple more trees that I made, so now you can look down this angle right here and you still have some vegetation and trees that are right there. Before I only had two, so I think this looks a lot better. The next thing that I did was add more to the road here, so I've used up pretty much all of those circular tile pieces, but I've extended it a little bit more right here, and then I took these 1x2s and extended it like that, so you can kind of get an idea of what the shape will be like and how that's going to continue forward. And you can see I've added in a bunch more 16x16 plates and as well as some other stuff over there, which I guess will be the main bulk of this episode. You'll also notice I got a couple more custom minifigures in the mail as well. Alright, so as I showed you in the last clip here, I've added in a bunch more plates there to try to start to fill up, all the way to the back of the build, which will be the city. So one thing I'm noticing with the Capitol when I look at the one screenshot we have of the Capitol in Umbara is it's kind of built up on top of a hill, and it's a very, very tall hill. Obviously I won't be able to make it that tall in Lego, and the way I've kind of set this up is obviously it's not, canon correct, if that makes sense. So I've got the road over here with the 501st, which is, I want to include this even though I'm building the Capitol because this is like the most iconic part of Umbara. The most iconic part of Umbara is like the 501st stuff. So I wanted to include it, but obviously the 501st never got close to the Capitol really. So what I'm struggling with is the main build is the Capitol with the 212th and everything like that, but the 501st are really close to the Capitol. Now, if I make the road lead up into the Capitol, you kind of lose a lot of that accuracy from the show where the 501st were never that close to the road. Obviously, I'd love to make it, as accurate to the show and, have it super large and have the road lead all the way into the village or the city and the Capitol be, 6 more white tables that way, but obviously I won't be able to do that. So there is going to be a little bit of, not so accuracy where the 501st are going to be right next to the Capitol, and I'll have the main road right here kind of lead up to up here, kind of in this general area where the entrance to the city will be, and that'll be that. So I like to keep things as accurate as possible, but in order to include the 501st in the MOC, it's just going to have to be right next to the Capitol. But essentially, the Capitol is built up on a little, a big hill. I'm not going to be able to make it that big of a hill just due to how many parts that's going to be, and I just don't have, I can't really do that at the moment. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is, over on this right side, I'm going to build up a little bit of the hill, and then I'm going to build up a little bit of a hill right there, and then hopefully connect it where the road kind of meets the city. So that way the city is built up maybe like 3 or 4 bricks, well, maybe not 3 or 4 bricks, maybe like 2.5 bricks tall. So the city sits up a little bit, but it won't be as much as like you actually see in the show or anything. But that way you can get some cool angles of the city looking all nice and tall from down here in the trenches. So that's the long-winded plan, is the road eventually will lead into the city entrance right there, and this will be built up on that side, and this mound will be built up right here. So it looks like the city is kind of built up top. So over here we have this gun emplacement bunker that I made in the previous episode, and what I'm wanting to do was, you can see I've kind of built up around the bunker, so there's a little bit of a hill and it starts to go up a little ways. So I kind of mentioned how the Capitol seems to set up just a little bit. Well, it sets up a lot in the show, but I'm not going to be able to do as big as it is in the show just due to what I'm building. But essentially what I've got here is I'm building up around the bunker and kind of building it up around the edges, and I wanted to show you guys kind of how I work the filler brick here. So in order to fill this up, there's a lot of filler brick that goes underneath, and obviously I don't want to use the same color that I'm using for the rest of the build because I need to save my pieces for the ones you'll actually see. So what I do here, and this is not a crazy technique or anything, but on the bottom layer we have some plates, and then we have bricks up top like this, and then another layer of plates right there, and then the actual detail pieces and plates on top, and then any other small little holes or gaps I start to fill in with extra pieces. So you can kind of see from this side a little bit more how I've got these different layers of filler brick here, and that helps this cover up. A, it's really strong and sturdy. B, it saves a lot of pieces, because imagine if I used all my black pieces under here, I just wouldn't have any left to actually build with. So just a quick little showing you guys how exactly I work some of this in case some of you guys are newer at MOCs, or maybe are just kind of looking to figure out how to save pieces. Definitely on large scale MOCs, use as much filler brick and random colors as possible. So here's what the bunker is looking like right there. You can see now it's kind of built up along the sides, and I'll kind of hopefully build up this up fairly high right here, and then maybe have another gun emplacement or a trench or something like that for the Umbarans. And I got the rest of the 501st boys here. Clone Army Customs had another kind of New Year sale where they had 24% off. So I knew I was going to get the figures eventually, so I might as well get them on the sale. So Dogma, Kix, and Tup are now in the collection. I'm actually really liking Kix. I think he looks really awesome, especially with the backpack and the medic arm print right there. Looks really awesome. I also got a Sergeant Apo helmet right there, and I just put it on a regular 501st body. So now I have the Sergeant right there, and he'll probably be leading the troops and the trench as well. So that is pretty cool. Very excited to have the full crew with the 501st boys. In the order, I also threw on a couple more things here. One being the new battle droids that Clone Army Customs have. These are really cool, being able to move the legs and everything. I am a little disappointed just because I thought you'd be able to articulate this little part inside of the arm. So essentially this is all you can move the arm, and you also can move it side to side like this. But I haven't figured out a way, maybe I'm just stupid or something, but I haven't figured out a way to be able to articulate you know, this little corner right there, as well as the knees. I thought it'd be cool. I'm sure it's like impossible to manufacture, but I thought it'd be cool to be able to make droids kneel and everything. But that doesn't seem like that's exactly what this is available to do. But otherwise, just from an aesthetics, it looks really, really good. It just wasn't exactly what I was thinking it was, but mostly just because I love to articulate my figures as much as possible. But this is still obviously an incredible kind of upgrade here from the Lego one. It looks great. But I will be using the normal Lego one because it also has a soft spot in my heart, and I have obviously more of them. What I did do was buy a bunch of the battle droid arms. So when I found out I wasn't going to be able to make them really aim down sight, what I did was actually flipped it. So I attached this to the actual body on this droid, and what you can do by doing that is if you reverse the way it's supposed to go on, you can actually make the droid aim down sights kind of. So, and then by using the other arm, I also flipped it upside down, or not upside down, I reversed it like that, so then he can be holding his blaster with two hands. So now the droid can fire with two hands and aim down sights, which to me makes them a lot more formidable than just kind of, you know, aiming from the hip as they do in the show a lot of times. So yeah, there's what I'll be doing. I don't know how many arms I'll be able to get, but I do think this looks kind of cool to make the droids aim down sight. The last thing that I grabbed was a bunch of the Clone Army Customs helmets, and this is based kind of off the newer clone helmets. They just don't have the ugly clone wart that the newer troopers have over there, even though the bodies are cool. But I have a Phase 1 trooper, the newer ones, so what I will be doing is doing this. So then I have because I have a bunch of these from Unilist from a couple years ago, so I got those helmets, so now I can have some more additional plane trooper reinforcements. So one thing I wanted to do, as I mentioned in the previous clip, was to build up, and I was just going to build this up and have it kind of flat up against the city, but as I started going, I realized I wanted another trench. So what I started to do was build another trench up here, so now when you go down here, this trench and this bunker leads up top to another trench, and this will kind of be the main point where these Umbarans or whoever's in the trench right there will be able to overlook the whole entire battlefield here, and then the city will start up right behind it, and the city will now be at this height. So the whole city will be built up like that, which is what I really wanted, was some height on the city. So you also can see I started to build up some of the terrain. Again, I'll be adding some slopes to this, as well as some of the different, you know, colors of either the pink or the red, and that'll give it a little bit more life. But here's what I've got for the trench. This one I wanted to make it a little bit different from the other ones. I wanted it to be a little narrower and really feel like you really crunched in there, and like the slopes almost reaching out, kind of like trying to consume you. That's the vibe I get from Umbara a lot, where the clones are on patrol and it's like at any point something feels like it's going to grab you and like pull you into the trees or something, even though it's, you know, sometimes they were just trees. But that was something I wanted to achieve with this little trench right here. So that goes all the way down out through there. Nothing too complex there for the actual trench, but I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to continue to work. You can see on the other side I need to finish that, and then hopefully finish up the rest of this terrain and get some of the studs on there to give it a little bit of life, and I'll update you guys once I have some more progress. All right, so the next thing that I worked on here was doing more of the terrain work with a bunch of the translucent red and the translucent dark pink, I believe is what it was called. So one of the big discussion points was what color to use for the mock. I enjoyed both of the colors in terms of the pink and the red. The screenshots, looked a little more red in my opinion, but they still glowed like they were pink, if that makes sense. So I wasn't really too sure. So what I ended up doing here was doing red on some of it, and then it transitions into the pink as it goes up this way. And I don't know exactly if that's a good idea or not. And I'm just not really too sure how it's, if I'm feeling it right now. Like I know that mixing these two colors together, I don't think I would like mixing them entirely. So I may have to pick one or the other. You guys will have to let me know, but I really like that pink. It's really growing on me. So I really don't know exactly. Maybe I should just make some 1 or 2 spots pink, like maybe spread out like a couple of ones throughout the whole thing instead of, a whole area like this. The other thing that I'm looking at here is I really like the way it looks, but I'm wondering if it's too colorful for Umbara. I really made quite a lot of these little interesting like stud formations and terrain work over here, and I'm just thinking it might be a little bit too much as we kind of take an overview like this. I'm just wondering if that's too many colors for Umbara here. So what I might end up doing is taking a couple pieces off and really making it a lot smaller and not so like spread out, because there's quite a lot. And I like from just an aesthetic reason, I like the way it looks, but I don't think it looks accurate to Umbara because this is a lot of color compared to what you would see on screen. So I may mess with that a little bit, but I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on what I've been working on. And this is on the other side of the mock here. I decided to make another bunker over here because, again, I was trying to build up to the top of this. I did the trench on the other side, but I just wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to do another trench over here. So I ended up doing another bunker here. And it's not quite, the bunker is, I think I'm done with, but the one thing I'm not done yet is I need some more 1x1 and 1x2s, shocker, for my black plates in order to fill in all of this space because it's not quite there yet. But I have a bunker on this side now, so we have 2 bunkers here plus the trench. And I know, again, I think I talked about it in the beginning of this episode, not entirely accurate because I'm mixing what we see on screen with what we don't see on screen. So you're going to get a little bit of that inaccuracy, but I really do think the Umbarans would have had a lot of these gun emplacements the closer you get to the capital itself. And yeah, so I've got the bunker right there, and I just need to kind of fill in a lot of the details to get this side done. Alright guys, and I have a lot of the trench done right here. As you can see, I filled in a lot of the detailed pieces around there, and then I've also worked on the top right there. As you can see, I've plated it off and got a couple things going right there. But here's what we're looking at for the actual trench itself. I'm really happy with the way this is looking. I love trenches and Lego builds, so I'm really happy with the way this looks. And yeah, a lot of the detail has been filled in, and I think it's looking pretty good. And you're going to notice a lot of things have changed in the background here for the build, so let's go ahead and get to all of that. All right, and as we look at the mock here, I just showed you guys some of the smaller detailed stuff. One of the big things that you can see here is I have started to extend the mock this way. So this is the height that the rest of the city or the capital will be built on. You see it's built up quite a ways there, and I've got an annoying gray line there that I didn't realize until after I built this entire trench part, so that's going to have to stay, unfortunately. But here we go. That's the height that the actual capital is going to be built on. I started to mess around with some stairs, so my main kind of objective here is going to be completing this middle section, because right now it's not connected, obviously. I've got the terrain work on this side and that side. I need to figure out how to mesh all of this together and make it work, because I really want to have some grand stairs entrances right there. I just feel like Umbara would have a really cool entrance like that. And again, like I said, not going to be accurate to the show, which is unfortunate, which is one of the things that's kind of throwing me off a little bit here, is because I'm like in the mode of like looking at the screenshots and replicating the 501st area, and then like right here it's like, okay, now I get to change everything and kind of do my own kind of thing, because we don't really see the entrance to the capital in the show, obviously. So stairs will be the next thing I work on. You can see I've got a little bit of a design going right there, nothing too crazy. I kind of want to make that bigger so it extends all the way here and comes out farther, so then it all flows naturally into the capital. And then right here's where the capital itself is going to go, so I can start on the buildings. Probably not going to be this episode just because so much work has come up. I was hoping to work on the capital, but then all of a sudden I decided to work on all this other stuff. That's kind of how these build series normally go. So I'm going to continue to work on a couple more things, and then up to you guys after that, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so I did a little bit more work on the stairs and the main entryway here. Essentially what I did was expand it so it connects to the sides here, and then I also went in and added in some slopes there and kind of tied in some of the terrain. I'll need a little bit more work, but there's kind of what we're looking like for the main entrance to the stairs. Used some interesting techniques here to on the bottom here as well, and then using a pretty simple staircase design up top after that first layer so it'll match into the city. And then again on this side I also have rock work connecting it, so hopefully it should look all nice and clean now. And then the other thing that you noticed that I did was work on the main road right here and extend it as much as I could till it connects to the main stairs, and I worked on the middle part of the road so now it connects all the way up to there, and I outlined where the rest of the road will go. I just need more of those triangle tile pieces so I can finish the rest of the road. So this is kind of what the road is going to look like when it's finished, starting from that end and weaving out and in all the way until we get to the stairs and the entrance into the Capitol itself. So I think that looks fairly cool. And again, I was really hoping to get to the Capitol on this episode, but that'll have to wait until next episode. I promise I'll actually finally work on the Capitol in the next episode because we have a lot of space to fill obviously back there, and hopefully I'll be able to work on the first couple buildings. I really want to put kind of two almost like watchtowers or like outposts or sentries that would kind of be overlooking the city gates here. So yeah, there's what we're looking like so far, and I think that'll probably be it for this episode. I could work a little bit more. I really wanted to work on the terrain over here and kind of take some of these down and make them less dense, but that's probably going to have to wait just because I don't want to delay this episode. It's already been a while since the last one, so hopefully this is enough progress for one episode. Got a bunch of those trees done and a lot of the terrain work and the bunker, and started to build the entrance to the Capitol. So just imagine all the buildings, and you can kind of look down this view and you'll see all the buildings down there from the battlefield. So hopefully that'll look pretty cool. Again, one of the main questions here is going to be, do I use the pink at all, or should I keep the red? Should I mix them here and there? And I do think I should make this less dense because I think it's a little too crowded over here. But yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much it for this episode, and the MOC's really coming together, and then hopefully finally next episode I'll be able to start to work on the Capitol. And then of course I got the trench done as well in this episode, so lots of different things to get your guys' feedback and opinion on. And again, next episode we'll finally be able to work on the Capitol. So that's going to be it, and let's go ahead and move on to the outro. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. Definitely let me know your feedback in the comment section below with some of those questions that I asked throughout the video. And for the next episode, I'll finally be able to work on the Capitol itself. So some very exciting things coming up in the next couple episodes. And as always, leave your feedback in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.